Good morning, folks. Today we're going to be looking at Module 6. We're getting started there, specifically looking at 6.1. We're going to be solving one-step inequalities. Let's go ahead and get things going here. So, inequalities and their graphs. Our vocab today is going to include the word inequality. So, an inequality is going to be a mathematical sentence that contains the symbol less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, or not equal to. We've got three things here. We've got our words, symbols, and our graph. So if we're talking about less than, we're going to see something like this, where it's going to point towards the variable. If we have x is less than 1, well, our graph is going to be an open circle because we are not including 1. We are including everything next to it, but we are not including 1. So it's going to be an open circle, and less than is going to be on the left side of the number line. When we think about greater than is going to open towards the variable. If we have greater than -2, again, an open circle because we're not actually including -2, but we're going to talk about everything next to it. And we are going to the right because we are greater than is going to be the right side of the inequality. If we're talking about less than or equal to, well, if we have x is less than or equal to 3, well, we're going to go to 3. We're going to make our circle. Now, this time, since we have that equal sign here, it's also going to include the value 3, and we show that it's included by filling in that circle. Again, we are less than, so we are going to go to the left side of the point on the number line. And our last one here, if we have x is greater than or equal to 0, we're going to go to 0. We're going to go ahead and fill in that circle. We're going to make a closed dot. And then we are going to the right because we are greater than this number. Numbers that are greater than 0 include 1, 2, 3, 4, going on forever, as well as every decimal or fraction above 0. So if we're going to be asked to graph the solution set, in this case, we're asked to graph y is less than or equal to 4. Now, when you're given a blank number line, you can write whatever number you want to be your starting location. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and write 4 right there. We've got an equal sign underneath our inequality. That equal sign there tells me that I need a filled in circle. Now, I'm always a big proponent of reading this out loud. This says that y is less than or equal to 4. Less than or equal. What's a number less than 4? Well, 0 or 1 or whatever you want. We've got 3, we've got 2, we've got 1, we've got 0. All of these numbers are less than 4. So our arrow is going to be pointing towards the left. For our next one, we have -5 is less than x. Now, one thing I'm going to always recommend you do is to read it from the variable. In this case, we have x. The inequality opens towards the x, so opens towards the x, and we have -5. So we have x is greater than -5. I always recommend putting our variable on the left side, but more importantly, make sure we're reading from the variable. X is greater than -5. So let's go and put -5 somewhere. I'm going to choose that random spot. We do not have the equal sign, so it's going to be an open circle. And we're saying that x is greater than. A number greater than 5 would be 1. Okay, so -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1. 1 is on this side of the number line, so I'm going to go ahead and point my arrow in that direction. There are 2 more right here. Go ahead and pause the video and try to graph them on your own first. As we're doing this, so as we see, we've got y is greater than 1/2. So let's go ahead and put 0 somewhere. We've got 1 somewhere. We know 1/2 is going to be directly in between those. We do not have the equal sign, so that's going to be an open circle, and we're saying that y is greater than that. So we're going to go to the right side of it. For this one here, we have 3 is greater than a. If we reread it, where our variable is first, we've got a, it's pointing towards the a, so we've got a is less than 3. We've got 3 here. We've got no equal sign underneath, so it's an open circle, and we're saying that a is less than, so we're going to go ahead and plot our arrow to the left. Let's go ahead and continue on here. So we're going to be doing the opposite thing here. So instead of coming up with our graph, we're going to be given a graph, and we want to create the inequality that represents that. So for this one here, we're going to start with the number. Okay, we've got -1, and it says that it is filled in. So we're going to have that equal sign. So let's go ahead and say we've got x. We're going to the right of that number. So x has to be greater than. Since it's a filled in circle, we're going to have greater than or equal to, and that number is -1. So that graph right there will be x is greater than or equal to -1. For this one over here, our number is going to be 4. So let's go and say that x, now we're going to the left, so x is less than, it's an open circle, so there's no equal sign underneath it, and we'll have 4. So x is less than 4 there. Go and pause the video, go and try these two on your own first. For this one here, we're going to have that x, we're going to the left, so we've got less than, it's an open circle, so there's no line underneath, and we're talking about 3. So x is less than 3. For this one right here, we are looking at x, we're going to the right, so it's going to be greater than or equal to, and it's going to be the number 0. We have that equal sign there because our circle is filled in. Let's go ahead and keep going. So now talking about solving inequalities. For the most part, these are going to be the same exact way you would solve any other equation. So in this first question, we have x minus 10 is less than 15. So we're going to try to get this variable by ourselves. So to do that, let's go and add 10 to both sides. And we're just going to bring this inequality straight down. We've got x is less than 25. Again, there's no numbers on my number line, so I could just pick 25 wherever I want. And I'm going to go ahead and graph this. This does not have the equal sign, so it's going to be an open circle. And we have x is less than 25. Since it's less than, we're going to go to the left of that circle. Go ahead and try the next one. We're trying to get this variable by itself. So let's go and add 9 to both sides. We get that b is less than or equal to 25. We moved this 9 to the other side, and this inequality came straight down. So again, we've got 25. In this case, we've got less than or equal to. So let's go ahead and fill in that circle. And it is a less than, so we are going to go ahead and have our arrow going to the left. Okay, continuing on. So some more examples. We've got x plus 24 is greater than or equal to 61. Let's go ahead and subtract 24 from both sides. We've got that 61 minus 24 will give us 37. So we have x, bring this inequality straight down, is greater than or equal to 37 as our inequality. Let's go and plot 37 there. We've got a closed circle, or one that's filled in, okay, because of that equal sign there. And then we're going to go ahead and say that we're going to the right because we are greater than as our inequality. You can go ahead and give this next one a go if you would like. Okay, but we're trying to get this variable by itself. So let's go and subtract 13 to both sides. I'm going to get that 75 is less than x. Highly recommend rewriting it, starting with the variable. X is, this opens towards the x, so it's got to stay opening towards, so x is greater than 75. Let's go and plot 75. Nice open circle there, and we're going to the right because we are greater than. Okay, so we've got a little bit more this time. So in this case, we're going to want to get our variable on its own. In this case, we've got 9y on one side and 10y on the other. We want to get these on the same side. So let's go and subtract 9y to both sides. I get that 3 is greater than or equal to y. Once again, let's go ahead and try to get this variable so that we're reading from it. So y, it's pointing towards the y, is less than or equal to 3. So we can plot 3. We're going to have a closed circle here. And let's go ahead and go to the left. We can do the same thing for this next one. We can go ahead and subtract 7x from both sides. I get that 6 is less than x. Let's rewrite it. So we get x. The inequality is opening towards the x, so x is greater than 6. We've got 6. We'll have an open circle, and since it's greater than, we are going to the right. Okay, now for a nice little word problem here involving inequalities. So Hassan's wireless contract allows him to use at most 5 gigabytes of data per month. At this point, Hassan has used 3.7 gigabytes of data. How many gigabytes of data can Hassan use during the rest of the month without exceeding the maximum allowance? Now, I like to start this by thinking about what my max is. We should know that our contract here, our maximum is going to be 5 gigs. So that means everything else has to be either less than or equal to 5. We cannot go over 5. So this other stuff here in this section on the left is going to have to be less than or at most 5. We know that they've used 3.7 gigs already. So we got to identify how many more gigabytes we can use. So if we have 3.7, we want to add the unknown amount, and we are saying that this combined has to be less than or equal to 5. So we have 3.7 plus x is less than or equal to 5. What we want to do is we want to go ahead and solve for how many gigs we can use. So let's go and subtract 3.7 from both sides. We've got x is less than or equal to 1.3. So essentially, Hassan can use at most 1.3 more gigs of data. He can use any kind of less amount. He can use 0, he can use 0.4, he can use 0.8, he can use 1.2, and he can use up to 1.3. He cannot use anything more than 1.3 gigabytes. And that's all I had for today, folks. Thank you so much.